Welcome back, everyone, I mean, seriously. Who in their right mind would willingly subject themselves to another Decisions Point video after that Bieber disaster? But hey, here we are again, ready for another deep dive. This time we're tackling their Venezuela video.
Ah, yes, decisions. They do seem to have a knack for picking controversial topics.
Controversial, putting it mildly. I'd say they have a talent for finding the most mind-numbingly stupid and dressing it up like some profound social commentary. Remember that Bieber video? Bieber breakdown. Navigating social media storms.
I believe we both had some strong reactions.
Strong reactions. I'm pretty sure I threatened to throw my laptop out the window at least twice.
I do recall a certain level of frustration being at that, yeah.
Frustration? I was ready to launch a full-scale crusade against anyone who had ever even thought about using the phrase social media storm.
While the proposed solutions did seem to be somewhat lacking in depth.
Lacking. They were about as helpful as a screen door on a submarine. Delete the tweet, engage with your haters, seek professional help. Who the are they kidding?
Perhaps they were aiming for a more gentle audience, one that might not be as familiar with the complexities of online discourse.
Or maybe they're just a bunch of lazy hacks who couldn't be bothered to come up with anything even remotely insightful. I wouldn't put it past them. Anyway, enough about Bieber. Let's move on to this Venezuela masterpiece. From what I've gathered, it's even worse than the Bieber one.
Based on your notes, it does seem to be stylistically unique.
Stylistically unique. Yeah, one way to put it. I'd say it's a goddamn assault on the senses. But hey, let's not spoil all the fun just yet. Buckle up, folks, because this could be a wild ride.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's dive in. God have mercy on our souls.
Okay, so sanctions. They actually kick things off with this one. How do they even try to present that?
Oh God, same old Sonny Hyance they show. Like these sad-looking grocery store shelves. Yeah, all empty, right? People waiting in these ridiculously long lines. It's the same old tired bull they pull out every time they want to talk about sanctions. And then this dramatic voice comes on talking about how sanctions are gonna, bring Maduro to his knees. It's just so goddamn predictable and simplistic.
So not exactly a nuance, right?
Nuanced decisions point? Come on. These think nuance is a type of cologne. They act like sanctions are some kind of magical fairy dust that'll make all of Venezuela's problems disappear. And they completely forget about, the actual people living there.
Meaning like the potential negative impact on ordinary Venezuelans?
Negative impacts? Are you kidding? They act like suffering is something that happens to other people, not, actual human beings who are just trying to survive. And get this, they seem to think that everyday Venezuelans will just, shrug off the pain of sanctions and rise up against Maduro. It's some feel-good movie montage. What a bunch of morons.
It sounds like you're saying they're glossing over the reality of how sanctions live.
Glossing over? They're ignoring them completely. They don't even bother to mention how sanctions rarely work the way they're supposed to. Especially with a stubborn like Maduro running the show.
You think you'd be willing to change course in the face of economic...
Change course? Maduro would rather eat his own shoes than admit he's wrong. He'd watch his entire country burn to the ground before giving up an ounce of power. It's like they haven't been paying attention at all.
So you're saying they're presenting a rather optimistic view of sanctions?
Optimistic? They're delusional. It's like they think sanctions are some kind of precision scalpel, when in reality they're a goddamn sledgehammer. Decisions Point is out here peddling this bull idea that sanctions are clean and effective, and it's just not true. It's dangerous, plain and simple.
It does seem like a rather simplified take on a very complex issue.
Simplified? They're straight up lying to people. And they're doing it for views. They're no better than those scammy TV preachers who promise you wealth and happiness if you just send them your money. Ugh, it makes me sick.
All right, well, let's move on to the next brilliant solution, shall we? What do they have to say about aid?
Oh, God. Here comes the puke-inducing humanitarian porn. Get ready for images of smiling kids getting, Band-Aids and apples, all set to this sappy melodramatic music. It's enough to make you want to hurl.
You're finding their portrayal of aid to be a bit romanticized.
Romanticized? It's exploitative. They're turning human suffering into some kind of heartwarming spectacle. Like all it takes to fix a broken country is a couple trucks full of teddy bears and canned goods.
So you think they're missing some of the nuances of humanitarian aid?
Nuances. They think nuance is what you put on your fries. It's all about emotional manipulation, tugging at your heartstrings, and making you feel all warm and fuzzy inside for watching their stupid video. They completely ignore the fact that aid distribution is a logistical nightmare, that it's often riddled with corruption, that sometimes aid gets used as a political weapon. But nah, in Decision Point land, it's all sunshine and rainbows and happy little kids.
You're saying they're presenting a very simplistic and unrealistic picture.
Of course they are. It's all about getting views and likes, not about actually helping anyone. They don't give a about the Venezuelan people. They're just using this crisis to boost their own goddamn platform.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
It's the only way to look at it. They're cynical, manipulative assholes who are profiting off of human misery. And it makes me sick. All right, so, talking it out. This is their big solution, right? Dialogue, diplomacy, all that jazz.
That seems to be their a third course of action. They make it sound pretty simple. Just sit down with Maduro, have a little chat, and all the problems magically disappear.
Oh, for sake. Are they serious with this talking it out with Maduro? That's like trying to teach a brick wall to dance. The guy's a goddamn dictator. He doesn't give a flying about talking. He only understands one thing. Power. And he'll do whatever it takes to keep it.
So you think they're overestimating the effectiveness of dialogue?
Overestimate. It's not even in the same universe. They're living in some fantasy land where you could just reason with dictators and hug it out. It's so naive and dangerous.
I see your point. It does seem like they're overlooking some of the complexities of the situation.
Complexities. This isn't the game of checkers, for Christ's sake. This is a country on the brink of collapse, led by a power-hungry maniac who's willing to sacrifice his own people to stay in control.
You seem to be suggesting that a more forceful approach might be necessary?
Forceful? We should be airdropping pamphlets on how to build a goddamn B team. This targeted out bull is just delaying the inevitable. And while we're sitting here debating the merits of diplomacy, Maduro is tightening his grip on power and crushing anyone who dares to oppose him.
Well, I think it's fair to say you have differing opinions on this particular issue.
Differing opinions. You think Maduro's going to suddenly have a change of heart and become a democratically elected leader just because some coolest assholes on YouTube think it's a good idea to talk it out?
Yeah.
Be a parade.
Okay, I get it. You're not a fan of their diplomatic approach. But look, maybe there's something to be said for exploring all options before resorting to more extreme measures. Oh,
For sake, there's nothing to explore. We already know how the story ends. It ends with Maduro clinging to power, the Venezuelan people suffering, and Decisions Point racking up views and ad revenue from their bullshit videos.
well, on that cheery note, I think we pretty much covered everything. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap things up?
Yeah, here's a thought. Don't be a idiot. Don't buy into this talking it out crap. Maduro is a dictator, a tyrant, a piece of and the only way to deal with a piece of is to flush it down the toilet. And if you're looking for actual insight and analysis on the Venezuelan crisis, not going to find it on Decisions Point. Do your own research, people. Don't be sheep.
Well, that's certainly a passionate take. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and for the love of God, stay critical.
Most importantly, stay the hell away from Decisions Point.